Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the US World Cup. We're here for another match, hopefully not another 5-1, hopefully a closer scoreline for all of you watching at home. Indonesia versus Finland, once again in the group stage. I'm Dale, I'm joined by Dada for what I think we can hope to be a pretty close match between these two teams.
I mean, the seeding would certainly indicate so. They're third and fourth seed in their groups respectively. I think Finland is already 0-1 because they lost to someone, right?
New Zealand.
New Zealand, yes, correct. I'm sorry, it's 10 a.m.
Hello, funny uncle. Good morning, sir. It is 8 a.m. here, bro. No excuses.
No, these are two American, American as in the continent casters,
yes.
Trying to cover a match between a European nation and Southeast Asia. So, pardon the slight brain fog. It is coming for us all. But anyway, Finland, obviously, group stage is where I think they can really shine in terms of getting some upsets. I think they have a pretty solid lineup for this lower stage kind of pool. Meanwhile, Indonesia, historically, I think, have a great skill cap roster and very good players, but have struggled a little bit in this early stage setting in years past. So has all the makings of a pretty interesting match, and I hope it's competitive as it can be. So
yeah, I would largely agree with that. I think these teams are kind of polar opposites in that Finland, like you said, is usually pretty good in the early stage, to the point they have been top 24 for a while now. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up one of these sheets just to see how many years in a row now Finland has been top 24. They've been top 24 the last 5 years in a row, from 2020 to 2024, every single year. So this is a team that, after having improved from top 32 in 2019, has every single year been the exact same placement in 17th to 24th. And that speaks to, being decent enough to qualify in at least within the top 24 and make good on that seeding in the first round of losers bracket every single year, which speaks to, I think, a lot of early stage consistency from this roster, right? You don't replicate that result 5 times without having that kind of early stage consistency. And for Indonesia, they've had a really, really varied set of placements. They were top 8 in 2020, then top 24, joining Finland in 2021, back to top 12, down to top 16, down to top 24 last year. This is a team that has really struggled with those consistency issues, like you said, but can, as we've seen in the past, back in 2020, pull off a really solid run. So we'll have to see which of these Indonesia teams that we have seen before shows up this year. Based on the qualifiers, it's looking like the one we have seen previously. Seed number 18 out of qualifiers, somewhat close to Finland, and Finland first picking into the speed here. Not too much of a surprise in that regard. You look at the couple of speed maps that we had in the qualifiers, the DT1 and the DT2. Finland more consistent on the DT1, 2.8 million both times, and also beating out Indonesia by a massive amount on both of their runs on the DT2, 3.4 million twice for Finland on that DT2 in qualifiers. Meanwhile, Indonesia, 1.6 million and 1.5 million on that DT2. I think really just struggling with the finger control aspects in that map.
Yeah, no surprises there. I think Indonesia also banning the DT2, just not really wanting to see it at all, but Finland picking the closest to it, which is number 2. And this DT2 has the finger control elements of DT2 from qualifiers, meanwhile this number 2 has most of the speed elements. So probably Finland favorite, trying to get a little bit of momentum going into this match here. Indonesia probably just looking to try and feel a lineup and see if Finland can stumble upon themselves. But yeah, it should be a slightly Finland favored pick here as the match starts, hopefully indicating that this match will be a little bit competitive. So Good luck, have funs in the chat as we head into Kyokugin Bon Odori.
This was also only one of 2 maps that Finland actually won against New Zealand. So, again, not that surprising that they want to pick into this versus Indonesia. Indonesia banning out the DT2 is, I think, a little bit surprising just because Finland actually lost that to New Zealand. But New Zealand, of course, got 4 million team score on that map. So, understandable loss there. We get into it. Measuro McQueen, Styx, Lifeline, Mindfrost for Indonesia. Isaac, AJJ, Amacetic, and Zepe in for Finland. That player is, with the Finnish name in the top right, is AJJ there. Early break for Amacetic, probably not going to matter too much. Still has very high accuracy and not even down 100 combo. And you can see the score lead just flickering back and forth between the two teams as the accuracy matters a lot more at the beginning here. And of course, both teams with pretty good accuracy. 2 double S's for both squads, high 99s for just about everyone else on the field.
This map is mostly, in this group stage settings, a little bit of a shit miss map, but Amacetic being the only one to trip up so far won't really affect it. It wasn't the first like 30 combos, so it would really just be a battle of accuracy, but there he goes again, and that's not really bringing good tidings for Finland, as Indo was gonna expand this lead, and this map is not that long, so they need someone in Indonesia to miss.
They definitely need somebody to, and this is looking like a very, very solid run for Indonesia so far. Another somewhat difficult set of patterns coming up here. Some longer streams with some slider jumps in between. Nobody missing on it at all. Still 7 full combos, and the teams are going to see that at this break. There's a lot of pressure that gets added when you see that everyone is full comboing. Each individual player starts to feel that individual pressure of needing to hold on to that FC in order to convert the point or to gain a chance at a comeback in Finland's case. And there goes Measuro McQueen. There's those added nerves. It's just a random jump that claims his FC. And now it's 3-3 in the full combos. Combo advantage back the way of Finland on Amacetic. Up about 4. No, actually it was Bancho for Measuro McQueen. So still 4 FCs for Indonesia as we head into the final difficult section in the map. And I think at this point you're looking at multiple misses for Indonesia. There's maybe another miss for Measuro McQueen. That one looks real, but AJJ will also find the drop on the side of Finland. And once again, it's the traded misses now coming out at the end of the map. 200k in favor of Indonesia. More traded misses for Styx, Isaac, AJJ, and Measuro McQueen. But Lifeline holds the FC for Indonesia. Lifeline and Mindfrost holding that into the ending. Clutching out the win for Indonesia there. 3.6 million team score, 900k average for Indonesia across those 4 players. And it's not a bad team score at all for Finland, but about 3.3 million team score, not going to be enough there.
Well, I think this map kind of showed in some previous matches where, like, if you have a lineup for it, it's very unlikely that you miss up until after the break, so like in the last third of the map, and missing before that is really, really punished. And I think Amacetic just finding an unfortunate break there just kind of doomed Finland, because Indo did not falter at all. So kind of an interesting start to the match here. Finland's best skill set, really, at least according to qualifiers, not paying off, not paying dividends for this this early stage here.
See if they can maybe convert something a little later on. In the meantime, looking for a first pick from Indonesia. Of course, Finland banning out Nomad 1, the kind of just aim consistency pick there against Indonesia, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see that picked up. But this alt-tech hybrid in the free mod, more like a kind of low aim, low BPM tech density map with the AR 9.2 edit here. A very, very short pick that I think should work pretty well for Indonesia. They were a little bit better than Finland on both the Nomad 3 and Nomad 4 in qualifiers. And that's a lot of what we have data for. You can kind of look at the Hard Rock 1 or the DT3 from qualifiers for comparable maps. But just on paper, there's a lot of players on this team that really like this sort of thing. Definitely these three joining Lifeline all fit that description. Measure McQueen, Haku Koyori, and GNX, all really fans of this mapping style.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences in this map is going to be the Hard Rock player. If it's a Lifeline or Veno, aka Haku Koyori, it remains to be seen, but the Hard Rock player is going to have a pretty tough time on this map specifically, this kind of circle tech and control-y, like flow aim thing. It's a hard map on Hard Rock, and if Indo thinks they have a better Hard Rock fill than Finland, I think it's a pretty good pick.
The hidden player on this map also, I think, actually tends to struggle quite a bit. We've definitely seen the Hard Rock player have it the roughest, but AR 9.2 hidden on this is no easy task for any player on this map. So you need those modded players to really lock in. And when you have a map like this that I think is way harder on both mods, the no mod consistency also really starts to matter. Like, all else the same, yeah, if you have two no mod players for both teams who are really comfortable on this, then the modded players start to matter a lot, but that's not always the case, right? Sometimes the no mod consistency for both teams needs to be tested first. So we'll see what ends up actually happening here as Indonesia go for a optional hidden, both Measure McQueen and Haku Koyori wanting to take that hidden mod. A little surprising there, just because it does add some difficulty on this pick. It's not like this is just a basic aim free mod pick, right? This is a skill set in flow tech that really does add difficulty when you put that hidden on.
Yeah, last time we did have a little bit of data because Finland did play this against New Zealand, and last time we had a Kalandu FC and Amacetic on the Hard Rock. This time they're switching up. Amacetic is going to be on the no mod, and while Mike Tyson, the Iron Mike himself, just stepping in for Hard Rock there.
And a little couple of early breaks for both Hard Rock players, actually. Lifeline and Mike Tyson both finding those drops. That new guy dropping the only no mod for Indonesia already. Measure McQueen also dropping on the hidden. Another break to come through for Lifeline, and suddenly it's only Haku Koyori for Indonesia as another break comes through for Lifeline. Mike Tyson will find a traded drop on the Hard Rock, but there goes Haku Koyori now alongside Kalanlu on the hidden, and it's just the two no mods for Finland left standing after the first half of the map here. Dada, this is what I was talking about. The no mod consistency for Finland is just better with Isaac and Amacetic holding on to the double FC going into the last quarter here, and that is generating a massive score lead for them, already closing in on 300k. Despite these extra breaks coming through for Mike Tyson, it's going to be really tough for Indonesia to pull this back in the last quarter.
It was interesting. Indonesia just kind of slipped on a banana peel at the start of this map. Finding breaks.
I mean, that's maybe a banana peel for Finland too. Amacetic and Isaac both finding the drops, but with Lifeline, that new guy, and Measure McQueen and Haku Koyori all finding breaks here in the last quarter. I don't think it's going to matter. That score lead, big buffer for Finland, up to about 300k, down back to about 200k at the end of the map, but not going to matter here. A trade of breakpoints to start things off in this match.
Not a very pretty pick for either team. I believe Indonesia just kind of having like sub 2 million score. Meanwhile, Finland not quite too confident on it themselves, but the point's a point, and a trade of breakpoints early on for this match.
Yeah, Finland, last time they played this versus New Zealand, they had 2.7 million team score. If they had that team score in this match, they would have won by almost 900,000 points. Instead, they win by just over 200k. So, shows a lot of variance in this map, right? A lot of volatility on this pick, which I think makes sense. It's a very short pick. It's a very tricky skill set, and maps like that tend to be really coin flippy, a little bit RNG, a little volatile. So, I think that does make sense, but just goes to show exactly how volatile this sort of map can really be.
I worry for Indonesia if that's their first pick, if that's their attempt to try to establish themselves in this match. If your first pick is you dropping 1.7 million in group stage, like, it's not very It's not very kosher, but Finland immediately answering with that Hard Rock 2, that sort of like techie adjacent precision pick, and in a way it's similar to Free Mod 1, just a little bit less like XL decel and more precision oriented, but probably trying to exploit that momentum that they gained from Free Mod 1 itself. So interesting pick here. Obviously, their Hard Rock player in the Free Mod 1 didn't have the best of times, but maybe they're just looking for a bar fight. They're just looking for that, like, we may not be that good at this this kind of pick in Hard Rock, but we think you're worse. So let's just have a go at it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what's going on here. Neither of these teams was particularly strong on either of the Hard Rocks and qualifiers, but they were pretty close to each other overall on the Hard Rocks and qualifiers. And like you said, this is similar enough to the last map. So just pick a scrappy sort of map once again. Not particularly short for this one, but not particularly long either. Only about 2.5 minutes on this Hard Rock 2. By the way, the only original song made for this map pool in the pool. There's a couple of other mode original songs in this pool as well, but this one by Memodemo, the only original for this group stage pool. So shout outs to Memodemo for this one. As we start to fill out the rosters for both of these teams, that new guy Styx, Lifeline, and Mindfrost in for Indonesia. Looking to continue the breakpoint train on Finland's second pick here. Mike Tyson, Zipe, Savilju, and Amacetic looking to convert on the momentum they have from the last pick, get a similar map out there, and hopefully start winning their own picks, starting with this Hard Rock 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to find a couple of early breaks, since Precision coming from a CS4 map is a little bit of a tough cookie to really crack, but so far so good for everybody. And I mean, we're going to be seeing this early stage of the map just being a little bit more chill. Meanwhile, there's going to be some funkier sliders and some funkier aim control later, but so far so good for everybody involved. A little bit of an early athlete from Indonesia, however, that new guy finding that early break will skyrocket the lead over to Finland in this early on stage. Amacetic, what the hell?
He forgot there was a note, maybe. I don't know.
I guess.
Not sure what happened there, but Amacetic gonna find the miss right after that long slider. And Sevilla gonna trade one over as well. So now 3 full combos to 2 in favor of Indonesia on this pick. We are just a little over a quarter of the way into the map, so the score lead not going over that quickly. There goes Lifeline and Mike Tyson both trading some misses away to the other team. That new guy going to trade once again, so supporting combo in favor of Finland, but the double FC keeping things even right now. Styx and Mindfrost matching Zipe alongside both supporting combos for Amacetic and Savilju. So the score lead staying basically put at about 100k in favor of Indonesia halfway into the map now.
I mean, Zipe needs someone in Indo to break at least once. Mike Tyson will not help his case as he finds another break in this kind of slower section here. Savilju also. So Zipe, the only meaningful combo for the only FC for Finland with a meaningful combo in Amacetic. Meanwhile, both Styx and Mindfrost ID heading into this break, seeing that they're FCing, they're carrying Indonesia on their back. It's still comebackable for Finland, but they need some misses right now, and Mindfrost will do just that.
And that's a start, but it's not going to be enough. Amacetic also finding the trade here for Finland. It is Zipe versus the world. And, I mean, there's only so much map left. There's only so much potential score he can add left in this map. Another miss to come through for Savilju, and I think we've passed the point of no return here. 300k score lead for Indonesia. Styx will also find the drop, but look at the 2 supporting scores there. Lifeline just finally finding a miss at 600 combo, but that noob guy also holding strong, and this score lead, yeah, it's going down, but that's not nearly fast enough. There's just not enough time. And Indonesia will, in fact, continue the breakpoint train with 2.7 million on this Hard Rock 2, granting them the win. 890k from Styx. The one missed choke at the end of the map. Zapay top scoring with the only FC in the lobby, but the rest of the team just not able to put up the same level of performance as their counterparts on Indonesia.
Well, I don't know really if teams are picking for themselves or the other team, but
Gentlemen's agreement.
it really feels like they're like reading the match incorrectly and then picking like the exact wrong pick at the wrong time. But hopefully we get hopefully continuing that trend, honestly, because that means tiebreaker. So
True.
but if I was in Indonesia, if I was their captain right now, I'd be looking at AIM, specifically Hard Rock 1 or something like Fremont 3, trying to just exploit that kind of aspect of the pool. There's DT1 as well, potentially, but since they've been DT2, they might not be 100% comfortable on speed. But I think Hidden Chew. Okay, so going the opposite way, trying to exploit more gimmick, more reading. Normally, I'd say it's a bold move to pick something involving reading against a team that has Colin Lu, but you know, the rest of Finland's lineup is not really built for that. Colin Lu's kind of just like their one like notable reading player.
Yeah, I think this actually does work somewhat well for Indonesia, just because they had a pretty solid run through the qualifiers Hidden 2. That said, there is a world where Finland wins this, right? Indonesia's first run was 2 million points on this, and Finland's was only 1.4. But Indonesia's second run on this was 1.4 million, and Finland's second run was 1.5. So there's some volatility. There's chances for a breakpoint, and as well, you should all be aware that the Hidden 2 from qualifiers was far harder than this Hidden 2 that we have here. Wayward Romance was way more difficult than Coconut Love. This is also a lot more kind of density reading focused rather than structural pattern reading focused, and so the focus of the map is a little bit different. You're relying a lot more on hidden and density reading comfort than you are on having learned the intricacies of the map like you would be on something like Chocolate Disco in the Nomad 3. So this is a very different type of map. We'll see how this one plays out for Indonesia and Finland. Two teams with a few players who are going to be pretty comfortable on this. In Finland's case, it's really on Kalanlu to put up a really good score on this map. But the rest of the roster should be more comfortable on something like this versus the Hidden 2 from qualifiers. Meanwhile, Indonesia, with a few people who can put up some pretty solid scores on this. Foul coming in for the first time in this match. Mindfrost, Hakwi Koyori, both having some very good scores on Indonesia's first run from Hidden 2 in the qualifiers as well. And actually, Mindfrost not playing this. It's GNX and Mejro McQueen. Mejro not having played the low AR Hidden in the qualifiers is the odd one out here, but clearly a little bit more comfortable this time around than anyone else on the roster.
Again, we do have data for Finland, since they did play this against New Zealand. They won against New Zealand on this pick, Holland having a 700k, nobody have seen though. But they dropped a solid score. It's not 100% like a definitive like good score, but it's solid enough to beat New Zealand, and Indo probably looked at that and was like, oh, we can do better. But sometimes it's not about, oh, we can do better, it's about, oh, like, can you do better in match, right? So yep. So far so good. Allery not having the FC so far, missing a little bit early, the only miss in the lobby so far. Meanwhile, all four players of Indonesia holding that full combo, and the rest of Finland also pretty strong. GNX finding another break to trade.
Combo and score pretty much even right now. It's the three-way full combo for both teams at the moment. Big act drop there for Kalanlu, Civilio, and Isaac both finding big misses on the streams, though. And it's still the three-way full combo intact for Indonesia right now. Another break to come through for Isaac. And despite the supporting combo being a little bit better for Finland in Alird, it's the now 3 FC advantage with that miss for Kalanlu coming out. No trades from Fal, Hakui Koyori, or Mejuro McQueen. This is just a massive, massive advantage for Indonesia on this hidden 2. Effectively zero chance of a comeback for Finland on this map. They do not need to be worried, even with that miss from Mejuro McQueen. There's a 400,000 score lead and less than a quarter of the map left to go with no FCs on the other team and 2 on your own. Indonesia crushing this pick against Finland here this time around. Foul finding the miss. Mejuro McQueen still, well, actually also finding a miss there right before the big slider stream at the end of the map. These misses, though, just not going to matter. Indonesia doing very, very well through about 2/3 of that map.
No FCs shall be had for Coconut Love. Alird, the only real combo remaining, but had that early miss, of course. Just the classic Coconut Love scenario of you miss somewhere in this map. You roll a die, and then whatever number you get, that's the little fraction of the map that you're gonna miss on. Solid point for Indonesia. Obviously, just having that little bit of a higher average score, getting the FCs up until the break, but Finland not having the best or not having the worst run either. So actually outscoring their performance versus New Zealand, but wasn't enough.
So now Indonesia making good on that that claim that they can do better in match than Finland on this hidden 2. Now see where Finland wants to go. Both of the maps that they have won so far have already been picked in this match, right? Both the Nomad 2 and the Hidden 2 were the 2 maps that they won versus New Zealand earlier. One map that they have a win on in this one is Eyes on Me. Maybe go for something else a little Floim focused. Finland had some pretty strong scores on Floim focused maps in the qualifiers as well. So I'd really like to see something like a Free Mod 2 from this team. And there it is, going to be the Free Mod 2 Nightmare Invitation by Ebemayo.
Yeah, usually the teams who pick Nomad 2 are also looking to pick Free Mod 2. They're similar-ish. Just one is faster, one is more Floim intensive. And yeah, no surprises there, honestly. Like, the real question obviously is always like, can you have the Hard Rock player properly like play this map? As is the question of a lot of the free mods. And last time around, they didn't really have that Hard Rock player, but neither did Indo. So let's see if this time it's any different.
Yeah, last time around on the Pre-Mod 1, it really came down to the no-mod player consistency for both of these teams. And among some of the lower seeded teams in this group stage, that's what we've been seeing on this map as well. In the really, really high level matchups, we've seen it come down to like whether your Hard Rock player is better or not, because everybody else is getting close to an FC. But I'm not sure if we're going to be quite there in this match. I feel like there's going to be somebody, either a hidden or a no-mod, who is going to miss for both of these teams and make it a little bit more scrappy among the combos in this map. As it definitely is hardest on the Hard Rock for this map. It's AR 9.6. You don't have to deal with a ton of density on Hidden. It is still Hidden stream flow aim with some space streams, but not nearly as high a spacing as the Hard Rock. Waiting on one last player to come in for Indonesia is going to be Styx, that noob guy, Mindfrost, and Mejuro McQueen in for Indonesia on this Free Mod 2 pick from Finland. Fielding AJJ, Isaac, Amacetic, and Zepe. Looking to stop some momentum in Indonesia. Dada, if they lose this pick for Finland, you're down 4-1 with Indonesia having the next pick. You really have to stop the breakpoint train here if you are Finland.
You do. You also have to stop the 5-1 train in general for today, but apparently we have Taiwan and Denmark also on the B stream if you haven't if you haven't caught up with the chat either, but that one is 4-0 right now, and so they're looking to break that trend. And looks like AJJ will be on the Hard Rock and Isaac on the Hidden. Meanwhile, Indonesia, once again, Major McQueen on the Hidden, and Minecraft this time on the Hard Rock. So let's see if Finland can confirm their pick, or if we're gonna see a match point for Indonesia. Sticks in, Major McQueen missing very early on will give that lead, early lead at least, over to Finland.
I really like the mod loadout for Finland as well. Anesthetic and Zapay on the no mod, I think, is who you want to see if you are rooting for this team. As everybody getting through that first difficult section scot-free. No misses for either of these teams so far. Outside of those, of course, very early ones from both Styx and Measure McQueen that we saw earlier, but the difficult section so far claiming no victims, as we finally get a miss there to come out from Zapay on the Nomad for Finland, and now start to get a little bit worried. It's that noob guy and Mindfrost with the FCs for Indonesia, but big recovery combo. And never mind, not on two, just on one. Measurable Queen finding that miss on the Hidden, and it's 3 FCs to 2 with a big supporting combo. Reverse choke for Styx on the Nomad. They only have one no-mod combo for Finland right now, with Anesthetic still holding, but this Hard Rock for both Vadin and Mindfrost looking really good. The Hiddens as well. Isaac actually just slider breaking on a slow section there, and now massive combo lead for Indonesia. Basically, the whole reverse choke from Styx is free combo for Indonesia right now. Only a 130k score lead, and we still have a quarter of the map left to go.
It's the toughest quarter, however, and I'm really surprised that both the Hard Rocks are still holding. Very good plays coming from both of them. Meanwhile, Anesthetic being the other meaningful combo for Finland. Mindfrost and Major McQueen will both not trade, but like have the misses for Indonesia. Will make sure that the bleeding is stopped. AJJ also finding a miss, but it is a little bit too late, as 200k of lead to Finland will indicate that they will finally break the 5-1 trend and will confirm their own pick here in Freemachu. Very well done by them.
Yeah, very good win for Finland there. It's actually 850k Hard Rock for AJJ on that map, which is just kind of crazy. It did come down a little bit to the modded players, though. Not necessarily the Hard Rocks, as Mindfrost nearly matching that on 770k, but the hidden difference here, Isaac at 712k, looking very confident on that hidden. And despite Zapay having a pretty rough run on the Nomad, those extra scores from the Hard Rock and hidden players on Finland are enough to overcome those difficulties and give them the win here. And now we're looking for a next pick for Indonesia. Indonesia looking to claim match point here. I think after the Hidden 2, you potentially look at something like the Nomad 3. Of course, we still have some aim maps left up in the pool as well, which I agree, Dada, are probably pretty good picks for this team. Also, the Hard Rock 1, the Free Mod 1 in particular, looking pretty good. They did ban out that DT2, so you less expect them to pick the DT1 over something like one of those other 2 maps, but with how solid they looked on that Hidden 2, you have to think Nomad 3 is potentially an option for them here.
Yeah, obviously, if you do well on one of the reading picks, you want to pick the other one, but they're so different. Like, one of them is basically an AR8 aim/flow aim, meanwhile Nomad 3 is legitimately just reading and very small snap aim, but they will be opting for that. They will be going with the normal logic, so to speak. So let's see if this is a good pick for them. Obviously, having the knowledge about their own scores there. Let me actually check if they played this versus New Zealand.
I don't think so, but maybe they did, and I'm just misremembering. No, they did not play this versus New Zealand.
New Zealand might have banned this.
Yeah. Would not surprise me too much. Regardless, yeah, like you've said, this is a really different pick, right? I think this is more reminiscent of what we saw in the qualifiers Hidden 2, as being a lot more like structural reading focused, like you've been talking about. The big difference though is this is Nomad. This is also AR7. It's really, really low BPM, so you have a lot of time to kind of course correct if you do make a mistake on this map. Big difference is being able to read or having practiced the map enough to remember exactly where you need to go in your course correction on something like this. So, just as a quick reminder, I know 4.32 stars doesn't look very high, but for tournament players, anyone who knows ball knows that when you see a 4.3 star map in the pool, you're quaking in your boots. It's usually pretty difficult.
You run for the hills, honestly. Like, you see a 4-star map, that there's something wrong here.
There's something wrong. There is something afoot in this lobby if there is a 4-star map being picked. Go play it yourself if you don't believe us.
There's two kinds of misses on this map. There's reading misses, and then there's, oh my god, how did I miss that misses? Where, like, you're just snapping wrong to something legitimately just, like, 2 pixels away. So, it's obviously, like, you can reading miss, and most people who aren't comfortable with this AR and map style will. But, like, those snaps, they're tricky. They're not 100%, like, the star rating system doesn't really like them, but they're tricky. You can miss them, and as much as it feels like, oh my god, this is such a shit miss, but it's not really like uncommon to see that like small snap miss. Meanwhile, Hakui Koyori finding a slightly early miss there, just a little bit of a reading miss at the start, being the only miss so far for any of these players.
One thing we haven't touched on with this map is this is almost 4 minutes long, by the way. So even if you do, take the time to play this a lot or look in the editor for specific patterns, you still have to be really consistent at it across, 4 minutes, basically. So we've seen some players just kind of do really, really well in the first half and then kind of struggle in the second half. I think largely because of the consistency issues on a map like this. If you're not a really seasoned low AR player, if you don't play this very often, you can have those sorts of issues. Now GNX the next to find a miss, also on Indonesia. And that's about 400 combo in, so there is a decent advantage here for Finland, not only now in terms of the accuracy, but also the combo. Make that just the accuracy once again. Alird also finding a break now during the second Ki time. Mike Tyson, Anesthetic, Kalanlu all still holding the FCs. Hakui Koyori on the reverse choke alongside Fao and Measure on McQueen, keeping it close here for Indonesia. Combo almost even, ever so slightly in Indonesia's favor. Accuracy definitely in Finland's favor. But there goes Alird once again finding another drop, and now I think this combo lead is going to start to overpower the accuracy difference.
You can just tell a couple of these players not very comfortable here, having pretty bad accuracies. Obviously, this BPM is really uncomfortable. Mike Tyson, Anesthetic, and Measure on McQueen all missing on that transition. So the lead will scoot over to Indonesia's favor, but this is such an awkward pick. It's so hard, despite what it seems. It's just so uncomfortable. The AR, BPM, mapping, just these little perfect stacks. GNX finding another break. This is the 4-star pick from hell here.
Yeah, and you know what? The two low AR specialists on each team doing really well right now. Fao and Kalanlu both holding strong. The real difference maker right now is Hakui Koyori, the only other FC in the lobby, holding for Indonesia. I won't say holding strong. He's on 96 accuracy, definitely struggling a lot more with AC and potentially with some reading on this map than either of the low AR specialists, but you don't need to have high AC to convert for your team, and this is the kind of play that can show it. Another break to come through for Anesthetic, but as long as Hakui Koyori and Fao keep holding, there's no chance of a comeback, and there's the miss for Kalanlu as well on the side of Finland. Not even a bad team score for Finland overall on this. I think averaging 500k, 600k on this is not too shabby. Indonesia just still 2 FCs intact. Fao making me eat my words once again as both low AR specialists miss, and Hakui Koyori, despite... Okay, all right, man.
Nope.
You know what? It's meant to be like that sometimes. It really just be like that sometimes, and all of the FCs are dead in the water before we hit the end of the map, but it's still a win for Indonesia. 650k average score for this team across their 4 members, and 2.6 million is enough to get them over the finish line.
Oi, babe, I got the best score, right? I got the best score from this whole lobby, right? And I had 850k, but it was a 4-star map, right, babe? But like I got the top score, so I kind of carried my team, babe. But I guess that's how this is how it goes, babe. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
Is that your best impression of like the dude in the baseball stadium with the like cool bro skater glasses with his arm around the girl who's clearly not interested in whatever he's talking about? That's gotta be it, right? We'll call it that at the very least.
Let's just say that I was watching baseball up until like 2 a.m. Yesterday, so
yeah. No, I get it. Okay, last pick for Finland, by the way. This is the last pick for Finland in this map pool. Their 2 wins so far have been on Flow Aim. I think they would be remiss to not pick more Flow Aim here. There's not that much straight up Flow Aim left in the pool, though. You kind of have secondary Flow Aim tests in like the Nomad 4 a little bit, which is mostly sliders. The Hidden 1 to some extent, which is more like an alt hidden map alongside some tech and finger control elements. And then DT3 kind of, but it's a lot more snap aim alt than it is flow aim. So there's no like specifically flow aim pick left in the pool, and they are going to go with one of those 3 at the very least. The Nomad 4 Heliosphere by Vorso. This map gives me Handsome's Master vibes from this difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, that old school kind of like techie slider focused pick kind of does give Handsome's Master, actually. You got a pretty good...
I cooked a little bit of that.
Yeah, you got a pretty good radar for that, but obviously, like, the second, I think, lowest SR map in the pool, even lower than Coconut Love, but very much, again, star rating is lying to you, to your face, but this map is very tricky. The slider mechanics are very tricky. The like transitions into sliders are also pretty tricky. There's some slider ticks that you gotta aim that with how the slider flows. Some people will try to cheese those, maybe will be successful, maybe not. Some people will just actually flow with the slider and can potentially get a little bit of that slider tick kind of just a miss in general, like slider break, and it's not fun when it happens, but I've seen it happen a couple times this group stage, as people just kind of don't really expect the slider velocity sometimes. But yeah, I mean, Indonesia having match point, they were favored, I think, in Nomad 4 in qualifiers, which is obviously like the closest thing to this. But that map was so much different than this one. That map was really more of like a slider head aim map with a couple of slider mechanics, but like mostly not slider ticks. There was only 1 or 2 big slider ticks that you had to watch out for. So it's a different kind of map. Maybe Finland will be a little bit more competent on that one, and Indonesia will be a little bit more uncomfortable at this one. We'll never know, but I guess we will know. We will know, like, literally right now. So good luck, have fun in the chat, as Indonesia looking to close out this match versus Finland on Heliosphere.
Let's see it. That noob guy, GNX6 and Measure McQueen, like you said, Dada, looking to close it out. Looking to end this match 5-2. Not even have to go through their own last pick. Finland looking to extend the match by 1, and at the very least force Indonesia to use their own last pick in this match and potentially go to a tiebreaker in this one. Let's see it. Early miss to come out for Measure McQueen as we get into what, you wouldn't really describe as a flowing map, right? This is a slider tech map. You see all the slider ticks on a lot of these longer sliders. You see a lot of difficulty in just slider following, slider head aim. The flow aim in between got some hands, though, and a couple of misses coming out for that noob guy on some of those patterns as well. 2 FCs to 4 now in favor of Finland, but Measure McQueen on a good recovery, and only a quarter of the way into the map means this combo lead is still tenuous at best. for Finland, despite a solid state of affairs for their side.
Most of the time in this pick, you see like pretty good early combos up until the halfway mark, and then the second K is really where people kind of have a tougher time. But the Indonesia early breaks, but Savilyu actually finding a trade, so that lead will erode very quickly for the side of Finland as the break comes in, and people can see that nobody has an A rank so far, nobody has a miss, only cider breaks. So a little bit unfortunate, but in a way very similar to previous Nomad 4 experiences, especially qualifiers. A lot of S ranks, a lot of unfortunate cider breaks, but the lead will be scooting over to Indonesia's favor. Slowly but surely, but this is where people missed.
Let's see where those misses come from. It's basically halfway in. The combo lead with Indonesia right now. Alird also finding the drop for Finland, and now big combo lead for Indonesia. Up a full combo, effectively. Another drop for Savilyu, so the recovery combo coming from that noob guy also playing a role in this combo lead for Indonesia, and it's all downhill for Finland. Kalanlu and Isaac needing to carry, but Isaac finding the drop as well, and one by one they fall. Dada, Finland are unfortunately tossing it away in the last quarter of this map. GNX, Styx, Mesro McQueen, that noob guy, all hitting that difficult section, and only Kalanlu doing so for Finland. The score lead rocketing up to now 400k for Indonesia, and I fear it may just be over for Finland. Styx will find the drop, but it's just not going to matter with a sliver of map left and a 500k score lead. Indonesia, they show they can still have that early stage consistency over a team like Finland. They show up in the group stage and convert a win for themselves here on the OS World Cup 2025 stage, something this team has really struggled with, that early stage consistency. Now for S ranks, minimum score 700k for Indonesia on this Nomad 4, looking very, very solid for them in these early rounds.
Looking very solid. Obviously, a couple of early breaks kind of put that consistency into question, but the comfort on this map was just way better for Indonesia. The second section was really just a masterclass by them, where nobody really missed it, but those Styx missed at the very, very end. But Finland just not quite being able to play that that second section all that well means Indonesia will get that 5-2 victory on a breakpoint to close it out. However, I think I'm not really a maths guy anymore, but I think mathematically speaking, this puts Finland into a really, really tough scenario. 0-2, I don't think that eliminates them mathematically, but I think that means
the one way that they can get out, the one way that they can get out of the groups is if everyone goes 1-2 except for one team.
Yeah.
So one team has to go 3-0, and the other three teams in their group have to go 1-2, and from there, Finland can get a win by tiebreaker by match differential, or map differential, excuse me. So yeah, that's the only way that they can get out now, which is an incredibly unlikely scenario. They need some luck. There's definitely a lot of luck involved in that scenario happening, but they're not technically eliminated yet. So Finland, keep looking for that next win in your group. Unfortunately for them, their next matchup is versus Romania, the top-seeded team in the group. So Finland would have to pull off a major upset to make that happen.
Yeah, by the way, when we say eliminated, that just means like getting out of groups, not in the like qualifying slots. But they're not actually eliminated. They're a challenger group. That means if they get the bottom two slots of their group, they're going to losers bracket instead of winners bracket in bracket stage.